kids. Okay, I am going to go over some very basic stuff about circular motion that you need to know in order to be able to solve basic stuff and do some problems in this unit. First thing I need to note, um, I've been teaching physics for a long time, but when I first taught this unit. This was actually part of the Newton's Law unit. It was a really big unit, but it was part of Newton's Law. So I want to make sure you understand this unit really truly is just Newton's laws. You know, when we get into solving other problems, it's, you draw an FPD, you write your equation from your FPD, and then you solve stuff. It's the same stuff. Okay, but this is we are talking about circular motion. So far we've talked about acceleration being speeding up and slowing down primarily. Now, if you have something that's moving in a circle, okay, and let's say it's moving in a circle at a constant speed, is it accelerating? Yeah, it is accelerating. Why? Because it's changing direction. Remember, to accelerate, speed up, slow down, change direction. So if we have something moving in a circle at a constant speed, it's going to accelerate. Well, there's a couple things that we need to understand, a couple basic terms that you need to understand if something is moving in a circle at a constant speed. The first is period, okay? The symbol for period is going to be a capital T. Why a capital T? Because this is a special time, okay? It is the time it takes to complete one revolution, okay? So going one time around, that's the period, okay? For example, the period of the Earth going around the sun is 1 year or 365 days. The period of the Earth going around its axis is 24 hours, okay, or 1 day, okay? So period, how long it takes to go around one time, okay? A term that is related to period is, and I should mention this because we are talking about time. Most of the time our units are going to be seconds, okay? Something that is related to period is something called frequency. Frequency is going to be abbreviated a lowercase f. Why lowercase? Because we already use uppercase for force. So this is going to be a lowercase f. And this is because physicists are not so creative when they're picking out the terms. This is how frequent you go around a circle. So how frequent you complete a circle. In this case, later on we'll talk about waves. It'd be how frequent a wave is made. In this case, it's how frequent you make a complete revolution. Okay, the units for this, okay, are going to be, revolutions or circles, revolutions per second, because it's how frequent you make a circle. So, which it has another name. It's called a hertz. So obviously there's a guy who is really into rental cars and physics. Yeah, no, I don't know. But anyway, so hertz. Okay, so that is the units for it. So let's say, for example, you have something like this. Okay, and this will be something we'll be doing later on. You spin. You spin something over your head, and it makes 10 revolutions in 4 seconds. Okay. And I ask you, hey, find the period, find the frequency. Okay. Now, here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to memorize. Well, I got to memorize that. No. Understand what period is, understand what frequency is, and then you'll get it right. So in this case, if you think about, okay, period is how long it takes to go around one time. Well, it is taking 4 seconds to go around 10 times. So if I was trying to find the period, I would say, well, geez, that would be the time divided by the number of revs, okay? Which would turn out to be 4 seconds over 10 revs, which would be 0.4 seconds per revolution. Now, you don't have to say the per revolution because the definition of the period is how long it takes to go on once. So that per revolution is implied. But if you want to say that just so that you understand it better, that's great. Okay, so that would mean it would take 0.4 seconds to go around one time. Okay, this, if you look at this, you might go, "Oh, that's a formula. I got to memorize that." No, you're going to understand it. It's the time that it takes to go around once. Okay, this is also not on your formula sheet because the College Board expects you to understand. If you think about the frequency, well, if I want to know how frequent I'm making a revolution, well, if I'm making 10 revolutions in 4 seconds, how frequent am I making a revolution? Well, then you would say, oh, well, that would be the number of revs over the time, which would be 10 revs over 4 seconds, which means I'm making 2.5 revolutions every second, or my frequency is 2.5 hertz. Okay? If you look, hey, look, these are related. Yes, and if you look on your equation sheet, you will see this on there, that the frequency is 1 over the period, or period is 1 over the frequency. Okay? Last thing to note, okay, if you're moving at a constant speed around a circle. So constant speed around a circle. Okay, if you're moving at a constant speed around a circle. So, all right, hey, look, I'm going at a constant speed around the circle. Okay, well, what is the distance that you would travel if you went one time around a circle? What is that called? Oh, yeah, that's called the circumference. How do you find the circumference? Well, this one actually is on your formula sheets. If you look under the geometry section, well, the circumference is 2 pi r. Okay, if you're talking about going one time around, that's the distance you travel. Well, the time, if you were to go one time around, would be the period. Does everybody see that? Because the time that it takes to go around once. Well, if you're moving at a constant speed, hopefully you remember this from our last unit, well, v equals d over t if you're moving at a constant speed. Well, that means if you're moving at a constant speed around a circle, that means that this is going to be 2 pi r over the period. Okay? You will notice this formula is not on the formula sheet. Why? Because College Board expects you to know, if you're moving at constant speed, how do you find the speed? V equals d over t. Okay? And the College Board gives you this, and they expect you to know this. But that's you get this. Now, this is called the linear speed. Meaning, if you are in your car, going in a big circle in your car, what would the speedometer read? Well, the speedometer would read this speed, okay? So linear speed is just how fast you're moving in a straight line, okay? So far, so good? All right, that should be enough, at least to start. Bark it!